Hey, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to dive into the really fascinating relationship between our bodies and the medications we take. You know, it's not a one-way thing. It's more like a complex dance, a two-way street that decides everything from how well a drug works to the side effects you might feel.
I mean, we've all been there, right? You swallow a pill for a headache or some infection. But have you ever stopped to think about what really happens next? It's not as simple as the pill just zapping the problem away. The moment it enters your body, this whole cascade of intricate processes kicks off.
To really get a handle on this, we need to talk about two core ideas in pharmacology: pharmacokinetics and pharmacodynamics. Honestly, just think of them as two sides of the very same coin. Pharmacokinetics is all about the journey the drug takes through your body. And pharmacodynamics? That's about the effect the drug has once it finally gets to where it's going. Let's break that down.
So first up, let's look at pharmacokinetics, or what your body does to the drug. This is all about the body's active role, processing the medication, moving it around, and eventually getting rid of it. This whole journey can be summed up with a pretty handy acronym: ADME. First, the drug gets absorbed into your bloodstream. Then, it's distributed all throughout your body. Next up, it gets metabolized, which just means broken down. And that happens mostly in the liver. And finally, it's eliminated from your system. Simple as that. ADME. Okay, but that second step, distribution, this is where things get really personal. It's not some uniform process that's the same for everyone. How a drug actually travels through your body is hugely influenced by your own unique body composition. We're talking about things like your age, how much body fat you have, and your water content.
And get this, take body water for instance. Our water content changes a lot as we age. Kids have a really high percentage of it. That goes down in adults, and it's even lower in the elderly. Now, why does that matter? Well, it directly affects how water-soluble drugs get spread around, which means different age groups might need totally different doses to get the exact same effect. Here's another super important idea. When a drug gets into your bloodstream, a big chunk of it actually binds to proteins, almost like a ship docking out a port. But here's the kicker. It's only the part of the drug that's left floating around unbound, the free drug, that can actually do the work, cross cell membranes and have a clinical effect. The part that's bound up, it's basically inactive.
And this has massive implications. Let's take the anticoagulant drug warfarin as an example. An incredible 97% of it latches onto proteins in the blood. That means only this tiny 3% fraction is actually free and active. It's just a powerful reminder of how much work that small, unbounded portion has to do. Wild, right? Okay, so that's what the body does to the drug. But what about the other side of the street? What does the drug do to the body? Well, that brings us to the other side of the coin, pharmacodynamics.
At its very core, a drug works by interacting with specific receptors on our cells. The best way to think about it is like a key fitting into a lock. This specific interaction is what kicks off a biological response, whether that's blocking pain signals, lowering your blood pressure, or fighting off an infection.
And if we stick with that key and lock analogy, drugs can basically act as two different types of keys. You've got agonists like morphine. These are keys that turn the lock. They switch receptors on to create a response, like pain relief. Then you have antagonists, like the beta blocker propranolol. These are like keys that fit in the lock but jam it so they block the receptor from ever being activated. Okay, so now we get the two-way street, right? The body acts on the drug, and the drug acts on the body. But how does all this knowledge actually translate into one of the most practical things in medicine, figuring out the right dose for someone?
Well, this is where a concept called half-life becomes absolutely critical. A drug's half-life is just the time it takes for your body to get rid of half of it, 50%. This one number is one of the most important factors in figuring out how often you need to take a medication to keep it working effectively.
Let's look at paracetamol, something we all know. It has a half-life of about 2 hours. So if you start with, say, 100 milligrams in your system, after 2 hours, you'll only have 50 left. After another 2 hours, just 25. The general rule of thumb is that a drug is pretty much gone from your body after about 5 half-lives.
So who's the main player in this whole elimination game? Your liver. You can think of it as the body's main processing and detoxification plant. It uses this powerful group of enzymes called the cytochrome P450 system to metabolize or break down a huge variety of medications.
Now, this is why you sometimes get warned to avoid certain foods or even other drugs when you're taking a prescription.
Some things, like grapefruit juice, believe it or not, are inhibitors. They slow down these liver enzymes, which can actually lead to dangerously high drug levels in your body. And other things are inducers. They speed the enzymes up, which can make your medication way less effective.
So let's pull all of this together. Why is it so incredibly important for our health to understand this really intricate dance between our bodies and our medications?
At the end of the day, a drug's effect isn't some simple equation. It's a really delicate balance. Your unique body composition totally matters. The amount of that free drug that's actually circulating in your system matters. The health of your liver and kidneys, absolutely critical. And all of this comes together to create a dosing schedule that's designed to keep that balance just right.
And that brings us to one last really interesting thought. We've seen just how much individual differences can affect how our bodies process drugs. So, as our ability to measure all these little variations gets better and better, are we heading toward a future of truly personalized medicine? A future where every single prescription is tailored not just to the illness, but to the unique chemistry of the person holding it. The dance, it seems, continues.